Okay, we're going to be talking about 1/3 minus 1/6. So there's three different strategies I'm going to be sharing with you. One is finding the greatest common multiple and least common factor here. We're going to be comparing them here and here as well using discs, fraction disc, and using fraction strip diagrams. Okay, so the first one I'd like to share with you is actually this. They kind of go hand in hand. So what this means is this, is that if I cut a third, so these are my thirds, these are my sixths. If I cut a third into one piece, right, it's going to be thirds still, right? But if I cut my thirds into two pieces each, that's going to get me sixths, right? Okay, so I automatically see, oh, I can turn my thirds into sixths. Does that make sense? So if I can keep my sixth the same, I can keep it 1/6, and I can take my 1/3, and what I can do is I can cut it, I can take this and multiply by 2. And what that means is that I cut each one of these into two pieces. So for every third, I now have two pieces. Okay, that's what it means when you multiply the top and bottom by 2, because here it's 1/3, and if I cut a third into two pieces, I get 6. If I cut it, I'll keep going though, just to make sure you see this. If I cut a third into three pieces, I get, whoops, 9s, because 3 times 3 is 9. If I cut a third into four pieces each, that's going to get me 12s, because 3 times 4 is 12, and so on and so on. If I cut my sixth into two pieces, I'll get 12s. If I cut my sixth into three pieces, I'll get 18ths, and so forth and so forth. So right here, what this shows is that I could cut my thirds into two pieces each and get sixth, and I could leave my sixth as sixth, okay? So what I did right here is I cut my thirds into two pieces each, right? And that got me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That got me sixth. So therefore I can say, okay, well, 1/3 is the same thing as 2/6. Does that make sense? So now I have 1, 2 filled in, 2 out of 6, 2/6. So now I can just continue this equation. I can say, well, 2/6 minus 1/6 is equal to 1/6. Does that make sense? Okay, and the same thing here. I can say, okay, well, I can take my thirds and cut each third into two pieces, right? And that got me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that got me 2/6. 1/3 again is 2/6. It's the same thing. Mathematically, that makes sense because I can say, okay, for every third, I cut it into two pieces, right? So that got me sixth. And how many do I have now? 2/6. So then I say, okay, 2/6, and I plug it into the equation because remember, 2/6 is the same thing as 1/3. So 2/6 minus 1/6 is 1/6. 2 minus 1 is 1. I don't subtract here, right, because I'm still working with 6. This just tells me how many pieces a hole is cut into. One hole is cut into 6 pieces, and so they're going to stay 6. So I had 2/6, and I got rid of 1, right? And that leaves me with 1/6 left over. Okay.